we are going to make our famous Caribou Lodge bread. This recipe has been around for almost 30 years, maybe longer. You ready to rock and roll? I have her on the video with me today because in real life, she always helps me make bread, so figured we'd do it the same way. In order to make our Caribou Lodge bread, we need these simple ingredients.
Salt, powdered milk, flour, honey, oil, water, and yeast.
Perfect. The water has to get up to a certain temperature, so we've got a thermometer and a couple of measuring utensils, and we'll get into that in just a minute. The first thing we got to do is get some hot water in here. It's actually going to be warm water. It's only going to be about 110 to 115 degrees, or else your yeast will die. All right, now that we've got the water to 115 degrees, it's time to mix it with the yeast. We are adding 4 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. Go ahead and put it right there in the water.
Do you think that's good?
Great. I stepped out of frame for a little bit. You're already taking care of things. Stir this just a little bit, just to get all the yeast off of the bottom of the bowl, just in case any stuck to the bottom of the bowl. And that's good, honey. And we're going to time it for 10 minutes and let the yeast activate.
Set.
And set. All right, we'll come back in just a second. All right, we are back. We have let the yeast sit in the warm water for 10 minutes, and now it's time to add our ingredients.
Yep.
We've got honey and oil that I always like to add together first. I like to use the oil because it coats the bottom of the glass. And we are going to measure 1/8 of a cup. So that's easy to do using the Pyrex. So go ahead and squirt that. We are adding 1/4 cup of honey.
All the oils to the top.
Yep. So go ahead and set that off to the side a second.
And it shows how much honey you added.
Next, we're going to add 1/3 of a cup of powdered milk. Nope, here. We have to add a tablespoon of what?
Salt.
Good job. Now, this recipe calls for between 5 and 6 cups of flour. Kind of depends on how sticky, gooey, and how much kneading you're doing. I hate when it sticks to my hand, so I always seem to add a little more, and I'm between 5.5 to 6 cups by the time it's all said and done.
Puff, puff, puff. The honey and oily. Blah, 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 blah. If it doesn't get out, we just scrape it with a spatula.
So, as you can see in this bowl here, the first couple additions of powdered milk and flour, still a really runny mixture. And as you add that's just 1 cup. Here we're going to add a 2nd cup, and it's going to get a little harder for Eiley to stir.
You'll see me going, then I give it to you.
Yep. And then we'll start the kneading process. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. That's cup number 3. So while she's stirring this, I'll let you guys know that I'm going to knead this for 10 minutes by hand. We are off the power grid, so we don't break out the KitchenAid very often. We also find that the dough rises and makes for a nicer, fluffier loaf of bread if it's kneaded by hand. So I'm going to knead for 10 minutes, and then we're going to let it rest for about 20 minutes. That's looking good. Maybe we will just eat that.
No, that would be disgusting.
All right, what do you think?
It needs to be cooked. It's getting sticky.
It's getting really sticky.
Oh wait, you take over.
Okay.
Ow, that hurts my hand.
Daddy's going to take over at this point, and I think we'll call it good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It hurts my back too.
Thanks for your help. So after you've coated the bowl with a light layer of flour, or you can also use a little bit more of that canola oil, I like to stir it around and just get that coated over my ball of dough. And then I take a little towel, and we're going to let the dough rest for about 20 minutes. And then we'll cut it into 2 loaves. All right, so, oh, that looks good.
Voila.
All right, you want to make sure that your bread pans are pre-greased. Eiley helped me with that. Thank you very much. Okay, got it? Okay, and there we go.
Leave that squishy bread in there.
Oh, maybe not squish it so much. All right, so it's going to look a little something like that. Now we are going to let them rise for 90 minutes. But 75 minutes in, we are going to preheat the oven. So I'm going to set the timer for 75 and then again for 15 after the oven is preheated. All right, so we let these raise for about 90 minutes and they're ready to go in the oven. There we go. I'm going to set them out on this cooling rack. Let them cool down after 25 minutes in the oven, and that is pretty much it. Look at this. Beautiful. I lost my helper. She went to go play with her sister. But that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the recipe. Make it yourself. Let me know what you think.
The Monte Brothers.